The divine bargain. Thunder cracked across the desert sky as Professor Marcus Blackwood pressed himself against the ancient stone walls of the Sumerian temple. The air crackled with an energy he had never encountered in his 15 years of archaeological research. His calloused hands gripped his journal tighter as golden light pierced through storm clouds that shouldn't exist in this arid landscape. The phenomenon defied every natural law he knew. The temple ruins, untouched for millennia, began to hum with an otherworldly resonance. Marcus had come seeking evidence of ancient celestial worship, but what descended from the heavens was far from mere mythology. The being crashed through the temple's ceiling in a cascade of light and broken stone. Marcus shielded his eyes, heart pounding against his ribs. When the dust settled, he saw her, a figure that couldn't exist outside of ancient texts and fevered dreams. She lay sprawled across the temple's central altar, her form both magnificent and broken. 8 wings, not 6 as the text had described, spread across the stone like shattered stained glass, each feather shimmering with dying starlight. Her skin held the pale luminescence of moonlight on water, marked with glowing sigils that pulsed like a fatting heartbeat. "Divine One," Marcus whispered, the words escaping before he could stop them. Her eyes snapped open swirling pools of liquid gold that held the weight of eons. "Mortal," she spoke, her voice carrying the echo of distant bells. "I am Nephrin of the Eternal Chorus, and I offer you a choice that will reshape your destiny." Blood that shone like molten silver seeped from wounds that shouldn't exist on an immortal being. Marcus knew he should run. Every legend, every ancient warning spoke of the danger of dealing with celestial beings. But he had spent his life searching for proof of their existence, and now one lay before him, offering something beyond mortal understanding. "They come," Nephrin whispered, her voice growing weaker. "The Helios Guard approaches. Hide me, protect me from my own kind, and I shall grant you knowledge that no mortal has ever possessed." The air grew heavy with ozone as new lights appeared in the storm-racked sky. Marcus glimpsed armored figures descending like falling stars, their weapons blazing with holy fire. He had mere moments to decide. "Why should I trust you?" he asked, even as he moved closer to her broken form. Nephrin's golden eyes met his, and in them he saw something unexpected: fear. "Because, Marcus Blackwood, I am something they wish to erase, a truth they would rather destroy than face." The temple walls trembled as divine hunters drew closer. Marcus made his decision. He had spent his life uncovering the past's secrets. He wouldn't let this one be buried. "How do we escape them?" he asked, already shrugging off his jacket to help conceal her otherworldly glow. A faint smile crossed Nephrin's face as she pointed toward an ancient symbol carved into the temple floor. "Below, in the depths they dare not tread, but know this, by helping me you bind yourself to my fate. There will be no turning back." Marcus helped her to her feet, supporting her weight as her wings dissolved into motes of light. "I've waited my entire life for proof that there's more to this world than what we can touch and measure. I'll take that risk." The sound of celestial horns filled the air as Marcus pressed his hand against the ancient symbol. The stone floor crumbled beneath them, revealing a stairway into darkness that shouldn't have existed. As they descended into the unknown, Marcus caught one last glimpse of the temple above. Figures in blazing armor landed where they had stood moments before, their wings of light illuminating the chamber. "They will not stop hunting," Nephrin warned as darkness enveloped them. "The Helios Guard are relentless in their pursuit of those they deem heretics." "Then we'll have to be cleverer than them," Marcus replied, his archaeologist's mind already mapping their route through the underground passages. "These ruins hold secrets even your kind has forgotten." As they ventured deeper into the earth, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that he had just become part of something far greater than himself. The weight of divine judgment pressed down from above, but ahead lay the promise of revelations beyond mortal understanding. He had sought truth in the dust of ages. Now truth itself clung to his arm, wounded but undefeated. The chase had begun, and with it, a story that would reshape both heaven and earth. Echoes of the forgotten. The ancient tunnels stretched endlessly before Marcus and Nephrin, their walls adorned with symbols that seemed to shift in the dim light cast by her fatting radiance. The air grew thicker with each step, heavy with the weight of forgotten millennia. Above them, the rhythmic thunder of the Helios Guard's pursuit echoed through the stone. These passages, Nephrain whispered, her voice weaker than before, they were not built by human hands. She traced her fingers along the wall, leaving trails of silvery light that quickly faded. They bear the mark of the architects. Marcus adjusted his grip on her waist, supporting more of her weight as her strength continued to wane. The architects, the texts speak of them as the first beings, those who shaped the world before even the angels came. A bitter smile crossed Nephrain's face. How much your kind has forgotten. The architects were neither first nor last, but something in between. They built the bridges between realms before. She stopped, doubling over in pain as one of her wounds pulsed with golden light. Save your strength, Marcus urged, though his scholar's heart ached for more knowledge. He had spent years translating fragments of ancient tablets, trying to piece together the truth about humanity's celestial connections. Now that truth literally leaned against him, bleeding divine essence onto his shirt. The tunnel opened into a vast chamber that defied physical logic. The ceiling stretched up into darkness, while pillars of black stone twisted in impossible geometries. At the center stood a pool of water so still it resembled polished obsidian. The Mirror of Ages, Nephrain breathed, her golden eyes widening. I didn't think any still existed. Before Marcus could ask what she meant, a voice like grinding stone echoed through the chamber. The Fallen One brings danger to my sanctuary. From the shadows emerged a figure that seemed to be made of living darkness, its form barely holding a humanoid shape. Guardian, Nephrain straightened despite her pain, I invoke the old protocols. This mortal has claimed responsibility for me. The shadow being turned its attention to Marcus, and he felt the weight of eons pressing against his mind. Does the mortal understand what he has claimed? The price of harboring one who defied the celestial law. Marcus stood straighter, meeting the creature's gaze despite the pressure threatening to overwhelm him. I understand that knowledge often comes at a price. I'm willing to pay it. The Guardian's form rippled like smoke in wind. Bold words, but the Helios Guard will not be your only hunters. There are older powers stirring, awakened by her presence. As if in response to these words, the pool's surface began to ripple. Images formed in its depth cities Marcus had never seen, beings of light and shadow locked in ancient battles, and something else, something that made even Nephrain tense beside him. They're coming, she whispered, clutching Marcus's arm. The Void Hunters, they sense my weakness. The Guardian moved closer, its form becoming more solid. The Seraphim broke more than heavenly law when she fled. She broke the Great Seal, and now the Old Ones stir in their prison beneath reality. Marcus's mind raced, connecting fragments of ancient texts he had studied. The Seal! The legends speak of a barrier between dimensions, maintained by the Celestial Choir. A barrier I helped create, Nephrain admitted, her voice heavy with regret. But what they asked of me, what they wanted me to do. She shuddered, and for a moment her form seemed to flicker like a candle in wind. The chamber trembled as distant explosions echoed through the tunnels. The Helios Guard was getting closer, but now something else moved in the shadows, shapes that seemed to devour what little light reached them. Choose quickly, mortal, the Guardian warned. The Mirror of Ages offers passage, but once taken, there is no return. The path ahead leads to truths your kind was never meant to know. Marcus looked at Nephrain, saw the fear and hope mingling in her golden eyes. Then he looked at the pool, its surface now churning with images of impossible places. Everything he had studied, every mystery he had tried to unravel led to this moment. Sometimes, he said, reaching for Nephrain's hand, the greatest discoveries come from taking the path we're told to avoid. The Guardian's form dispersed like smoke, its voice echoing one final warning. Then may your conviction shield you from what comes next. Hand in hand, Marcus and Nephrain approached the Mirror of Ages. Behind them, the sounds of pursuit grew closer, the righteous fury of the Helios Guard mixing with the hungry whispers of the Void Hunters. Time was running out. Whatever lies ahead, Marcus said, tightening his grip on Nephrane's hand. "We face it together." She turned to him, her golden eyes meeting his with an intensity that made his breath catch. "Together," she agreed, and in that word he heard both promise and prophecy. As they stepped into the pool's dark surface, Marcus felt reality slip away. The last thing he heard was the chamber dissolving into chaos as their pursuers breached its sanctity. But by then, they were already falling through the spaces between spaces, toward a destiny that would reshape the very foundations of creation. Truths beyond reality. Falling through the mirror of ages felt like being unmade and remade with each passing moment. Marcus's consciousness stretched across infinite possibilities until finally, reality snapped back into focus. He found himself standing in a vast library that defied physics. Shelves spiraled in impossible directions. Books floated through the air like luminous butterflies, and the walls seemed to breathe with ancient knowledge. Nephrane materialized beside him, her wounds now glowing with a strange purple light. She appeared stronger here, her form more substantial, though her 8 wings remained translucent shadows of their former glory. "The infinite archive," she breathed, wonder mixing with fear in her voice. "I never thought I would see it again." Marcus watched as a book drifted past, its pages filled with writing that shifted between languages he had spent decades studying and others that no human tongue had ever spoken. "What is this place?" "The true repository of creation's history," Nephrane explained, catching one of the floating tomes. "Every story ever told, every truth ever hidden, every lie ever believed, they all find their way here." A distant boom echoed through the impossible space, causing ripples in the very fabric of reality around them. Nephrane tensed. "They're trying to breach the barriers between dimensions. We don't have much time." "Time for what?" Marcus asked, following her as she moved purposefully through the floating shelves. "To show you why I fell." She paused before a section where the books seemed to writhe in agony, their covers marked with symbols that hurt to look at. "The celestial hierarchy isn't what mortals believe it to be. We weren't created to protect humanity, we were created to control it." Marcus's mind reeled as Nephrane pulled a book from the air, its pages bleeding golden light. "The Great Deception," she said, opening it carefully. "The true history of the war between heaven and the void." Images sprang from the pages, vast beings of light constructing reality itself, shaping existence with mathematical precision. But beneath the beauty, Marcus saw darkness. Countless civilizations rose and fell, each one carefully orchestrated, their knowledge and advancement strictly controlled. "We were meant to be shepherds," Nephrane continued, her golden eyes dimming with sorrow. "But we became wardens instead. The Helios Guard doesn't hunt me because I broke divine law, they hunt me because I discovered the truth about humanity's potential." Another explosion rocked the library, closer this time. Books scattered like startled birds, their pages whispering ancient secrets. In the distance, Marcus saw shadows moving with purpose, darker than the spaces between stars. "The Void Hunters," he whispered, remembering the Guardian's warning. "Not hunters," Nephrane corrected, her voice tight. "Collectors, they gather forbidden knowledge, storing it in places beyond even heaven's reach. They're not evil, Marcus. They're the original archivists of reality, cast out when they refused to participate in humanity's suppression." Understanding dawned on Marcus like a physical weight. "That's why you fell. You were going to expose this." "I was going to do more than expose it." Nephrane reached out, and a crystal sphere materialized in her hand, pulsing with inner light. "I was going to break the barriers completely, let humanity access its full potential, but they caught me before I could finish." The sphere projected images into the air, human beings wielding powers that rivaled the celestial host, civilizations that touched the stars without divine guidance, achievements that shattered the carefully maintained boundaries of mortal capability. "This is what they fear," Nephrane said softly. "Not that humanity will destroy itself, but that it will outgrow its need for divine oversight." The library trembled again, and this time Marcus saw cracks appearing in reality itself, golden light spearing through from one dimension, absolute darkness seeping through from another. The Helios Guard and the Void Hunters were converging on their location. We need to move, Marcus said, reaching for Nephrane's hand. But she held back, her expression torn. You need to understand what helping me really means, she insisted. If we succeed, we won't just be breaking divine law, we'll be rewriting the fundamental rules of reality. Everything humanity believes about its place in the cosmos will change. Marcus looked at the sphere, still projecting images of human potential unleashed. Then he looked at the cracks spreading through the library, at the forces of absolute order and complete freedom closing in on them. Nephrane's expression shifted to one of fierce joy. She pressed the sphere into his hands, and Marcus felt power surge through him, not divine power, but something older, something that felt like the universe itself awakening. Then let's rewrite the story, she said, her wings beginning to regain their solid form. Together. As the library crumbled around them, Marcus and Nephrane raced through collapsing shelves of reality's secrets. Behind them, the forces of heaven and void clashed in a battle that bent space itself. But ahead lay something even more dangerous, the truth about humanity's place in the grand design and the power to change it forever. The power of choice. The crystal sphere pulsed in Marcus's hands as he and Nephrane raced through the disintegrating library. Reality buckled around them, books exploding into cascades of knowledge, shelves twisting into impossible shapes as the forces of heaven and void clashed overhead. The power flowing through the sphere felt like liquid lightning in his veins, awakening something that had lain dormant in human blood since the dawn of creation. We need to reach the nexus, Nephrane called over the chaos, her newly strengthened wings deflecting shards of broken reality. It's where all dimensional pathways converge, the only place where we can unlock humanity's true potential. A beam of celestial light pierced the chaos, and Marcus glimpsed Commander Raziel of the Helios Guard, his armor blazing like a newborn sun. Nephrane, his voice thundered through multiple dimensions. Return what you have stolen, and your punishment may yet be merciful. Stolen? Nephrane's laugh was bitter as she pulled Marcus behind a pillar of crystallized time. You cannot steal what was meant to be free. She turned to Marcus, her golden eyes intense. The sphere contains the original template of human consciousness, before they rewrote it, before they limited your species' connection to the cosmic force. Marcus felt the truth of her words resonating through the sphere. Images flooded his mind, ancient humans wielding powers that rivaled the gods, civilizations that spanned galaxies, achievements that current humanity could barely dream of. They didn't just control us, he realized. They fundamentally changed what we are. To protect you, they claimed. Nephrane's voice was soft with old pain. But really, it was to protect themselves. Human potential fully realized would surpass even the highest Seraphim. A wall of absolute darkness swept toward them as the Void Hunters advanced. Unlike the blazing certainty of the Helios Guard, they moved like living shadows, their forms suggesting shapes that human minds couldn't quite grasp. Their whispers filled the air with promises of hidden knowledge and perfect freedom. Don't listen to them, Nephrane warned. The Void Hunters oppose heaven's control, but their version of freedom would dissolve reality itself. Humanity needs balance, not chains of divine law or absolute chaos, but the power to choose its own path. Marcus gripped the sphere tighter as the library continued to collapse around them. How do we reach the nexus? Nephrane's wings flared with renewed power. We make our own path. She pressed her hand against the air, and reality split open, revealing a tunnel of pure possibility. The power you're holding, it's already changing you, awakening what was suppressed. Use it. Marcus closed his eyes and focused on the energy flowing through him. It felt familiar somehow, like remembering a language he'd known in dreams. When he opened his eyes, the world looked different. He could see the threads of reality itself, the mathematical poetry that held existence together. They plunged into the tunnel just as Commander Raziel's forces converged with the Void Hunters. The resulting clash sent shockwaves through multiple dimensions, but Marcus and Nephrane were already racing through spaces between spaces. Even if we reach the nexus, Marcus shouted over the howl of raw reality rushing past them. How do we unlock humanity's potential? The sphere alone isn't enough, is it? No, Nephrane admitted. We need a catalyst, a human willing to embrace the full truth of existence, regardless of the cost. That's why I chose you, Marcus. Your lifetime of searching for hidden knowledge, your willingness to question divine authority, you were already on this path. The tunnel suddenly ended, depositing them in a space that defied description. The nexus hung before them like a living constellation, threads of reality weaving in and out of a central point of pure possibility. But they weren't alone. "Of course," came a voice that shook the foundations of reality. Commander Raziel stepped out of a ray of divine light, his 6 wings spread in terrible majesty. "Did you think we wouldn't know your destination?" From the shadows emerged the leader of the Void Hunters, a being whose form seemed to be made of living darkness and dying stars. "The cycle must end," it whispered in a voice like entropy-given sound. "All knowledge must be free, all barriers must fall." Marcus stood between them, the sphere blazing in his hands. Nephrain moved to his side, her 8 wings forming a protective canopy of light. In this moment, they faced not just their pursuers, but a choice that would reshape existence itself. "You're both wrong," Marcus declared, understanding flooding through him as the sphere's power peaked. "Humanity doesn't need your control or your chaos. We need the chance to find our own way." The sphere's light intensified as the power of choice, humanity's greatest gift and greatest threat, awakened in his hands. The time had come to rewrite the story of creation itself, not as heaven or void decreed, but as humanity chose. The awakening. The nexus pulsed with infinite possibility as Marcus stood at the crossroads of reality. The crystal sphere in his hands had become a star of pure potential, responding to the awakened power in his blood. On one side, Commander Raziel blazed with divine authority, his 6 wings spread like a corona of celestial fire. On the other, the Void Hunter's darkness writhed with promises of absolute freedom. "You don't understand what you meddle with, mortal," Raziel's voice echoed through multiple dimensions. "The barriers exist for a reason. Without divine guidance, humanity would tear reality apart. And with your guidance, they remain eternal children," the Void Hunter whispered, its voice like the death of stars. "Better to let chaos reign and truth flow freely." Nephrain's 8 wings brushed against Marcus's shoulders, her presence steady beside him. "They're both afraid, Marcus, not of destruction or chaos, but of change, of losing their place in the cosmic hierarchy." Marcus felt the truth of it resonating through the sphere. Images cascaded through his mind, not just of humanity's suppressed past, but of possible futures. Billions of paths, billions of choices, each one valid, each one necessary. "You're right," he said, his voice carrying newfound strength. "Humanity doesn't need masters or absolutes. We need the freedom to choose, to fail, to learn, to grow." The sphere's light intensified as Marcus raised it toward the heart of the nexus. Reality itself seemed to hold its breath as ancient power responded to human will. "Stop him," Raziel commanded, launching forward with his flaming sword drawn. But Nephrain was faster, her wings creating a barrier of light that even divine weapons couldn't penetrate. "No more commands," she declared. "No more control." The Void Hunter moved like living shadow, its form dissolving and reforming as it tried to reach Marcus. "Then let all barriers fall. Let knowledge flow unchecked." "Not unchecked," Marcus countered, understanding flowing through him like a river of light. "But uncontrolled, there's a difference." He pressed the sphere into the heart of the nexus, and reality shifted. The power that had been locked away in human DNA for millennia began to awaken, not all at once in a catastrophic surge, but gradually, like dawn breaking over a new world. Raziel's light dimmed as divine authority weakened. The Void Hunter's darkness recoiled as order asserted itself through human choice rather than celestial law. And through it all, Marcus held firm, directing the flow of awakening potential with a wisdom that surprised even Nephrain. "What have you done?" Raziel demanded, his wings flickering like dying flames. Marcus turned to face both beings, aware that he now stood as an equal rather than a subject. "I've given humanity back its birthright, the power to choose its own destiny. Not all at once, not without guidance, but through gradual awakening and understanding." The Nexus hummed with new energy as reality rewrote itself around them. Humans across the world would begin to remember in dreams at first, then in moments of clarity their true potential, not as servants of heaven or chaos, but as creators of their own path. "It will take time," Nephrine said softly, her golden eyes shining with pride. "Generations perhaps before humanity fully understands its restored heritage, but now they have the choice, the real choice to grow into what they were always meant to be." The Void Hunter's form began to disperse. "Then our purpose here is ended. Knowledge will flow as it should, guided by wisdom rather than fear." Raziel stood silent for a long moment, his divine armor dimming to a subtle glow. "Perhaps," he finally admitted, "it is time for a new chapter in creation's story. We were meant to be guides, not guards." Marcus felt the change rippling through reality, subtle but profound. Humans would begin to discover abilities they had forgotten, to remember truths that had been hidden. But most importantly, they would have the freedom to choose how to use these gifts. "What happens now?" he asked, turning to Nephrine. She smiled, her 8 wings glowing with renewed purpose. "Now we teach, not as masters but as partners. Humanity will need help understanding its awakening power." The Nexus stabilized around them, reality settling into its new configuration. The age of rigid divine control was ending. The threat of chaotic dissolution had been averted. In their place, a new path opened, one where humanity would gradually awaken to its true potential, guided by wisdom and choice rather than doctrine or destruction. Marcus took Nephrine's hand, feeling the resonance between human potential and celestial power. "Then let's begin. The real story is just starting." Above them, the cosmos seemed to shimmer with new possibility. The barriers between realms thinned just enough to allow understanding while maintaining the stability of existence. It wasn't an ending, but a beginning, the dawn of an age where humanity would finally have the chance to write its own story in the book of creation. And somewhere in the infinite archive, a new section of reality's library began to fill with tales yet to be told, choices yet to be made, and possibilities that even the angels had never dared to dream.